12 people have been executed by the state of Nevada since 1976. This is part 1 of the series. Jesse Walter Bishop, October 22, 1979. Bishop was imprisoned for 5 years in a California state jail in 1962 for robbery. Despite being granted parole in 1967, he carried on with his criminal life, consuming substances and committing robberies. He was incarcerated once more in 1970. 2 years later, in 1972, he managed to break out of prison, but he was apprehended soon after and sent back. He was granted parole to Los Angeles in 1976, but documents from the prison showed that he persisted in his criminal activity and substances consumption. He became a wanted fugitive after committing an armed robbery in 1977. Bishop entered the El Morocco Casino on the Las Vegas Strip in Las Vegas, Nevada on December 20, 1977. He demanded all of the money from the female cashier while brandishing a handgun. 2 individuals tried to stop the robbery after witnessing it. David Ballard, another casino customer, and employee Larry Thompson attempted to stop him. As Ballard attempted to run, Bishop shot him in the back and Thompson in the stomach, and then he left the casino after stealing $238. Ballard, a 22-year-old newlywed Volkswagen mechanic from Baltimore, Maryland, passed away in the hospital on December 30th due to his injuries, but Thompson survived the shooting. Ballard had barely been married for 3 hours when he was shot. Bishop left the casino in a green car after the shooting, and the next day, the car was discovered abandoned at the Frontier Hotel. A day after the murder, he stole a man's car and robbed him at the Union Plaza Hotel in downtown Las Vegas. He tried to escape from authorities by leaving the stolen car behind and then stealing a pickup truck. He ordered the owner of another car to drive him around while he seized hostages and entered it at gunpoint. Then he captured another hostage by taking over a U.S. mail truck. He then proceeded to steal a UPS truck. Eventually, he got off the UPS truck and started walking. After an extended manhunt, Bishop was apprehended on December 22nd, 2 days after the casino heist. He was found sleeping under a trailer or mobile home in Boulder City, Nevada. He was found in possession of the gun used in the murder. Bishop calmly turned himself in, was arrested, and was then returned to Las Vegas to face charges, even though he had stated that he would shoot it out with the police. Prison officers escorted Bishop into the Nevada gas chamber in the early hours of October 22. After strapping him onto one of the death chairs, the gas inhalation execution took place. The process was observed by 14 individuals. Prison officials declared Bishop dead at 12:21 a.m. Filet mignon, asparagus, baked potato with sour cream, tossed salad with Thousand Island dressing, and dessert were his last meal. In Nevada, Bishop was the first execution since 1961. He was the last prisoner to be put to death by gas chamber in the state. Since then, lethal injections have been used to carry out executions in the same room. Carroll Edward Cole, December 6, 1985. Serial killer Carroll Edward Cole was put to death in Nevada for strangling 2 women. In addition to being found guilty of killing 3 more women in Texas, he is thought to have killed up to 30 individuals between 1947 and 1980. He committed his first murder when he was just 8 years old. He drowned Dwayne, a youngster of the same age, one of his classmates, in a Richmond, California lake as payback. At first, investigators considered the death to be an accident, but years later he confessed it was intentional. Cole committed a number of small-time offenses during his adolescence and was regularly arrested for intoxication and small-time stealing. He enlisted in the U.S. Army after high school, but in 1958 he was discharged for bad conduct after stealing guns. Cole assaulted 2 couples who were parked in a lover's lane in 1960. He soon reported that he was having violent dreams about strangling women to the police in Richmond, California, where he was residing. Over the following 3 years, Cole was admitted to several mental facilities. Despite the fact that medical authorities had diagnosed Cole with antisocial personality disorder, his release was authorized in April 1963. After being freed, Cole went to live with his brother Richard in Dallas, Texas. He married an alcoholic stripper named Billy Whitworth there, but his views on women remained unchanged. Cole convinced himself that Whitworth was having relations with men at a motel, so he set it on fire, ending the marriage after 2 years. He was consequently taken into custody for arson. Cole tried to strangle an 11-year-old girl in Missouri after being released from prison. He was again taken into custody and given a 5-year prison term. Cole wound up in Nevada after serving his sentence, where he tried to strangle 2 more women. He checked himself into a mental health facility once more. He was issued a ticket back to San Diego after physicians there acknowledged his deadly fantasies but decided not to keep him. Essie Louise Buck, whom Cole had picked up in a San Diego tavern on May 7, 1971, was his first adult victim. Before dumping the body, he drove around with it in the trunk of his car after strangling her to death. He murdered an unnamed woman and buried her in a remote place about 2 weeks later. He subsequently asserted that they reminded him of his adulterous mother because they had shown themselves to be unfaithful to their husbands. Cole married Diana Faye Younglove Paschal, a bartender and drinker, in July 1973. Cole often left on his own for days at a time, and they often argued and fought. While he was away, he would kill people, including one woman whom he apparently partially cannibalized. Cole killed Paschal by strangulation in September 1979. 8 days after a suspicious neighbor alerted the police, they discovered her body hidden in a closet and wrapped in a blanket, but they concluded that her death was due to excessive drinking, and after questioning, Cole was released without being charged. After leaving San Diego, Cole began to move around once more. Cole and Marie Cushman first crossed paths at a Las Vegas bar in 1979. The two had relations at a motel that same evening, after which he strangled her to death. In November 1980, he returned to Dallas and strangled 3 more women to death. Cole was discovered at the location of the third murder and was a suspect in the second. He was arrested and taken into custody. Cole was on the verge of being ruled out as a suspect when he confessed to all of the other deaths in addition to this one. Cole stated that he had killed at least 14 women in the 9 years prior, but he noted that he might have killed more and was unable to recall precisely because he was typically intoxicated when he performed his crimes. Cole was extradited to Nevada in February 1984, where he was found guilty of strangling 2 women in 1977 and 1979. He received a death sentence in Nevada in October 1984. He allegedly became a Catholic sometime before he was put to death. Kathleen Blum, Mary Cushman, Sally Thompson, Dorothy King, and Wanda Roberts were the victims Cole was found guilty of killing. The latter 3 were killed in Texas. Cole rejected attempts to get his sentence commuted on the day of his execution by anti-death penalty activists such as the American Civil Liberties Union, the United Methodist Church of Reno, and other death row convicts. Cole's final meal consisted of Boston clam chowder, French fries, salad with French dressing, and jumbo fried shrimp. He asked for Kentucky Fried Chicken the previous evening, but guards were only able to provide him with chicken nuggets because he was not permitted to eat anything that contained bones. On December 6, 1985, at 2:10 a.m., Cole was put to death by lethal injection at Nevada State Prison. Hours after his execution, the University of Nevada, Reno Medical School retrieved his brain and examined it for anomalies. William Paul Thompson, June 19, 1989. He was found guilty of 3 killings in California and Nevada between March and April 1984, and he subsequently admitted to 3 more murders in 3 other states, all of which have not been proven. He retracted his appeals after being found guilty of a murder in Nevada and was put to death in 1989. Born in Wichita Falls, Texas on May 2, 1938, William Paul Thompson and his family relocated to New York when he was a little boy. At the age of 12, he began drinking and stealing because of his father, a violent alcoholic who abused his family during his drinking binges. As a result, he was transferred to a reform school. For a variety of offenses during his life, including burglary, forgery, safecracking, and counterfeiting, Thompson was recurrently imprisoned in state and federal facilities. He stated that he had criminal records in Georgia, Kansas, Texas, Florida, New York, and Pennsylvania. When he was not incarcerated, Thompson worked at a variety of odd jobs around the area, including boxing and Salvation Army work. In the 1970s, Thompson was married, but his marriage didn't last long because his wife died of cancer in 1982. He became increasingly violent following this, and he claimed to have killed his first people soon after, though this was never proven. About 4 miles northeast of Auburn, California, on March 25, 1984, Thompson was drinking at the murderer's bar with another transient, Robert Herman Boyle, 44. They met brothers John and Robert Perisset, ages 28 and 35, who were in the area for gold panning and fishing. Unbeknownst to the brothers, Thompson told Boyle that he was growing irritated with the two men because of their loud motorcycles and Robert's intoxication. They continued to have drinks with them. The four men proceeded to Thompson and Boyle's campground later that night to smoke Mary Jane and drink tequila. Then, leaving Robert and Thompson alone, Boyle and John Perisset walked to the camper van to collect some sleeping bags. They thought Robert had fallen asleep when they returned and discovered him laying on the ground. Boyle heard a gunshot when he went out again to get more blankets. When he returned to the tent, he found Thompson searching through both brothers' pockets after shooting John in the head with a revolver. The two traveled to Winnemucca, Nevada, when they split ways after agreeing not to turn each other over to the authorities. By then, a 15-year-old local had reported to the police that he had witnessed the two guys depart the crime site, and an arrest warrant had been issued for them. As Thompson proceeded toward Reno, executing many robberies, Boyle made his way to Salt Lake City, Utah. On April 21, he was at the camp of 28-year-old transient jobless Randy Waldron, waiting to board a train close to the Sands Hotel. Thompson grabbed his pistol and shot Waldron 4 times in the head after deciding he needed money and a fake ID. Then he searched in his pockets and ran away. He tried to rob Susan Black and Barbara Johnson at gunpoint 30 minutes later in the same location. He was shocked when the two retaliated, with Black hitting him with her handbag and Johnson hurling a tire iron at him, forcing him to run. Authorities quickly arrested Thompson for the attempted robbery after identifying the unique tattoos on his knuckles. Because Thompson's gun rounds matched those at the crime scene and they discovered some of Waldron's personal belongings on him, they were able to conclusively identify Thompson as Waldron's killer a few days after his capture. Boyle, who had been captured earlier in the week in Salt Lake City, had already been transported to the Placer County Jail, and as Thompson was still in Nevada's jurisdiction, it was agreed that Thompson would be tried for Waldron's murder first. Thompson was charged on April 25 with attempted robbery, murder, assault with a deadly weapon, and carrying a hidden weapon. Boyle accepted a deal with the prosecution to testify against Thompson in exchange for immunity. On September 27, Thompson was sentenced to death. After declaring his desire to pass away with honor, Thompson renounced all state and federal appeals in the ensuing years. He became religious and pursued a formal legal education during the rest of his time on death row. Thompson was put to death by lethal injection in the Nevada State Prison on June 19, 1989. Guards said that his final words before going into the chamber were, "Thank you for letting me die with dignity." He spent the final hours of his life speaking to the prison priest and another death row inmate. He had a last meal of fast food hamburgers, French fries, and a Coke. Please hit that subscribe button if you like my channel. See you next time. Bye bye.